Hyundai Grand i10 Nios has just made its world debut in India, and over the next few minutes we'll tell you the key points about the new hatchback. First things first, the Nios is a new addition to Hyundai's lineup and will sit between the existing Grand i10 and larger i20. Talking size, at 3805mm long and 1680mm wide, the Nios is all of 40mm longer and 20mm wider than the Grand i10 we're familiar with. Just for reference, rivals like the Maruti Swift and Ford Figo are longer and wider still. Hyundai calls the Nios' design sensuous sportiness, and it is a bit polarizing. The large and low-set cascading grille is the focal point up front, and the boomerang-like DRLs at its edges sure mean you'll be able to identify a Nios from far away. L-shaped enclosures for the fog lamps and large headlights with projector lenses are other bits that will hold your attention. Hyundai has also tried to add some glamour to the look. There are quite a few premium bits to the Grand i10 Nios, such as these chrome door handles that really look very rich. Also, another thing that links the new Nios to the existing Grand i10 is this upswept window line, and there's also a nice little badge here that reads G-i10. Other cool bits include the diamond cut alloy wheels, 15-inch rims this time around. But if there's something of a weak point in the design, it would be the tail. It looks a bit generic and lacks the flair of the front end. The boot lid does lift to reveal a generous luggage compartment. The Nios gets a fairly large and usable 260-litre boot. Yes, the loading lip is a bit high, but it's nice and deep and you can fit in a large suitcase. Should you need more space, you can always fold forward the single-piece rear backrest. Shifting focus to the Nios' interior and the back seat. We already know the Grand i10 as a spacious car, and the Grand i10 Nios is no different. Now the front seat is set to my driving position. I'm just under 6 feet tall and I have a fair amount of room in the back. Yes, this is still not the widest of cabins, but as a place for 4 adults, it works really well. The backrest is also nicely positioned and there's a good amount of thigh support too. Drivers and front seat occupants will also like what they see. The Grand i10 Nios' dashboard is neatly styled and very well and thoughtfully done up. For instance, there's a nice and large recess above the glove box. The glove box itself is very usable, and at the base of the center console you'll find a wireless charging bay. I also really like the position of the 8-inch touchscreen unit, which is high up and in your line of sight. Now this touchscreen unit doesn't get Hyundai's latest connectivity tech, but you will be happy to know that it gets Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Of the other things, I also think the Part Digital instrument cluster is quite cool, and quality levels are really very impressive. The fabric of the seats is excellent, and another nice bit is this textured finish on the dashboard. Hyundai has launched the Grand i10 Nios in 4 trims, though you do well to consider the higher spec versions for the equipment they come with. What's a bit of a bummer is that the automatics aren't offered in top spec Asta form. While on the subject, both petrol and diesel versions of the Grand i10 Nios come with 5-speed manual gearboxes as standard and are also available with the option of AMT autos. The engines are shared with the standard Grand i10 but have been enhanced. The Nios' 1.2-litre petrol engine makes a reasonable 83 HP, but its real claim to fame is that it's BS6 compliant from launch. The BS6 version of the Nios' 1.2-litre diesel engine will come in early 2020. In current spec, the 1.2 U2 diesel makes 75 horsepower and 190 Newton meters, which are figures identical to the Maruti Swift. Prices for the Hyundai Grand i10 Nios start at 4.99 lakh rupees ex-showroom for the base petrol and top off at 7.99 lakh rupees for the top spec diesel. In effect, the Hyundai Grand i10 Nios doesn't cost much more than the existing Grand i10 and actually undercuts chief rivals like the Maruti Swift and Ford Figo. We are yet to drive the Grand i10 Nios and can't give you a definitive verdict till then, but on the face of things, the Nios sure looks like a very interesting option for anyone looking for a feature-packed hatchback.